This is Squawk Pod from CNBC, and today's episode we're bringing you the best of Squawk in Paris for the 2024 Olympics. We have big interviews with two Olympic gold medalists. First, famed swimmer Summer Sanders. She's out of the pool and into the stands.
I love the intensity of an entire stadium being quiet for the start of 100 meters.
Yeah.
But what happens after winning the gold? Sanders is helping athletes bring their Olympic energy to the workplace.
We're teachable, we're coachable, but sometimes athletes, even if they win or don't, they go into that next phase with a lack of confidence, and that's okay too.
Some athletes leverage their own social media brands for post-Olympic success. For legendary sprinter Michael Johnson, it's about amping up the hype and the business of his own sport with the newly launched Grand Slam track.
The sport needs to be uplifted in between those events as well, and not just for the live programming.
Plus, NBC's Willie Geist is at the Olympics too.
There's a beach in front of you, a rocking crowd, and yes, behind it is the Eiffel Tower lit up in all its glory.
And it is the Olympics, but we're still caught up on the regular news, like Apple's new AI features and Delta's fallout from the IT outage. I'm CNBC producer Cameron Costa, podcasting from New York. It's Tuesday, July 30th, 2024, and our Squawk Pod from the Olympics begins right now.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. We are live from the Olympic Games in Paris. I'm Becky Quick, along with Joe Kernen and Andrew Ross Sorkin. This is officially day 4 of the Summer Games, and it's already been a memorable run for Team USA. Last night, the men's gymnastics, that team won its first medal since 2008. It was a bronze. The U.S. name everyone is talking about here is Stefan Nadarasic. He is only competing on pommel horse, and his performance clinched the medal for Team USA. Pretty amazing. Japan and China finishing 1 and 2 respectively. And this was amazing, guys. We were in the stands to watch part of this competition last night.
We were there. The gymnastics is like a 4-ring circus, is it not? There's
100 things going on.
Everything going on.
What people don't realize, I think, when they're watching it on TV, is that a lot of the different events are happening simultaneously at the same time.
High bar, rings, vault, and
the pommel horse, uneven bars. But to try and watch it, you understand the brilliance of television.
Right,
yes.
It is.
To see what's happening. They do a very good job of putting stuff up on the big screen, but there's a lot happening at once.
I'd get excited because it like a red uniform. They go, no, it's Canada now, right? Then I couldn't really tell who was who. So.
But the amazing thing was there were fans from every nation there cheering things on. You saw the flags all the way around, and big chants of USA when the Americans were on any of these events too. Anyway, it was great to watch, a lot of fun. In the meantime, on the basketball court yesterday, another very interesting story. The U.S. women easily defeated Japan by 26 points in the first game of open play. That team, the USA women's team here, going for its 8th straight medal. We were talking yesterday about how they'd already won 55 games in a row since they'd had a loss. This win makes it 56 wins in a row. And everyone is talking about tennis. Novak Djokovic defeating Rafael Nadal at Roland Garros. Some big events we got going on today, including Simone Biles and the women's gymnastics teams going for gold. Here's the medal count at this hour. You've got the U.S. in the lead with 20 total, 3 gold, 8 silver, and 9 bronze.
Did I miss volleyball today?
Beach volleyball? It was this morning.
9
The 9 a.m. call?
Yeah, no, it didn't happen for them. 9 a.m. is 3 a.m. for us, right?
Yeah, but it's weird.
Maybe
We're all
we'll do a little beach volleyball later tonight. Yeah, that's the other thing. Apparently, it's great to see it under this beautiful sun, but it's also amazing to see it under the lights.
Dark.
We might go in like the way they're dressed if we went today, I think. Did you bring a suit? I didn't bring a bathing suit.
Oh, a bathing suit?
Yeah.
Do you want to? I was thinking we could maybe all do a little jump into the sand.
No way.
It's clean.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it depends on the day, doesn't it?
That would be TV, right?
Right.
No, I can't.
I'll cheer you on.
Cheer me
You
up.
guys jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were out kind of late. the two of us.
We actually went out together.
I know.
We went to the oldest cafe in Pitt.
I thought you two could use the time on your own.
We did. We did. We shared a dessert.
Some profiteroles.
Saint Germain, yeah.
They were some amazing profiteroles too. Okay.
They were.
It was the end of a long night. We were all together for a while.
Not long enough.
I went home before.
Not long enough for me.
There you go. Let's talk about Apple, because Apple said that the AI models underpinning its Apple Intelligence system were pre-trained on processors that were designed by Google. It's interesting because it's a sign that big tech companies are looking for alternatives to NVIDIA when it comes to training cutting-edge AI. Now, Apple's choice of processor was detailed in a paper that had been released yesterday. This company released a preview version of Apple Intelligence for some developer devices. Now, among the features included in all this, a new version of Siri that includes the ability to understand commands when the speaker stumbles over their words. This will be helpful for all of us at the table here. Joe, I know you are a Siri user, and oftentimes it does.
Because of that, it's useful.
Well, hopefully this is going to fix that. In addition to that, some better photo search and movie creation features, and AI-generated summaries for mail messages and voicemail. Some features were not, though, in the preview version, but Apple's saying they're going to be rolled out over the next year. Those include image generation, automated cleanup of user photos. You remember they showed some of that during the preview, and integration with ChatGPT. So that's not going to be initially available. You know, we kept talking about sort of the OpenAI partnership and what that looks like.
Right.
That may not be something that you're going to see in the first version of this come October, when I think we all expect it to be out, but we will see. We will see. The feature I'm looking forward to, which I told you about, that I think you're going to save, it's going to be a lifesaver for you, is there is a feature, supposedly, if it actually works, that's going to make it a lot easier to read a phone while you're in a moving vehicle.
This one I do want to see.
Because it's going to change the sort of motion sickness issue, and it's supposed to alleviate that to some degree.
Yeah,
How they
I'm
do that,
skeptical,
I don't
but if they do it, I would be
I
amazed.
don't have it anyway.
And
You?
impressed. I do.
Fine.
I can't use it in a rocky car on a
Really?
difficult road. I mean, if it's
read a book, but I can.
for a while, I'm okay for a little bit, but 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but for a distance,
An hour every morning.
it could be difficult.
We've been riding around in these vans. You've been sitting back
Whole time.
Yeah.
which I can't even sit backwards.
Right.
That'll do it for me. So I'm their toughest
Mind
case.
control. I won't sweat here.
Oh yes, that's because I have a weak mind. And then there's news from Delta Airlines that the company has hired prominent attorney David Boies to seek damages from CrowdStrike and Microsoft after the outage this month that led to thousands of flight cancellations. Shares of CrowdStrike dropped by around 5% in extended trading last night after Phil Laveau reported on Delta's hiring of Boies. While no suit has actually been filed yet, Delta plans to seek compensation from CrowdStrike and Microsoft. That outage cost the airline an estimated $350 to $500 million. Delta didn't respond to a request for comment. Boies is known for representing the United States government in its landmark antitrust case against Microsoft and for helping win a decision that overturned California's ban on gay marriage. He also worked with Harvey Weinstein and Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes. I think the bigger question is if Delta is successful in this, what it means from the thousands of other companies, government agencies, anyone else who might line up and seek compensation.
What he's
as well.
really known
For Al Gore, George Bush.
No, the sneakers, that he was the first person to wear sneakers with a suit during Bush v. Gore.
There you go.
During
So we both
thought the same thing.
You thought about the sneakers, I thought about the
because
case.
it made it safe for you to do that, and then you sort of set the standard in recent years.
With sneakers and
For
suits.
sneaker wear, but do you remember?
I do.
Bush v. Gore, he was
do.
wearing those all the way back then.
Yeah.
Against Ted Olson.
Yep, Ted Olson was on the other side of that.
Yep.
Meantime, let's tell you about another case that's taking place, this time in Los Angeles. Activist short seller Andrew Left surrendered in LA yesterday to face federal criminal securities fraud charges. He pleaded not guilty in a hearing that lasted 40 minutes, during which his hands were cuffed. Magistrate judge imposing a $4 million bond with $1 million of it collateralized. He has until August 5th to come up with that $1 million. He is prevented from making certain financial transactions of more than $100,000 without special permission, and his trading activity is now restricted. Prosecutors alleging the Left manipulated markets to benefit his trading and made false statements to investigators. So it's going to be very interesting. This case to me is going to be a watershed because the question is going to be, we have there's a lot of short sellers out there that make a lot of different statements and allegations. And if at the time that they made those statements, they believe them to be false, there's a problem. In this case, it's unclear whether he believed that they were false or whether what he said to the investigators was false, which is what the actual claim is.
What if you're hyping the
right now.
long side and you know it's false?
Well, and that's a similar situation.
What's the difference?
Why
do we know
should be
that?
the same?
I saw Andrew left in the rundown, and I'm like, now where? But it's not. You're still.
No.
You're still here. I did. I thought he's going.
Yeah,
I did.
And I saw Joe Wright. Joe Wright.
No, I don't mean Andrew.
No, he means left the
Andrew
set.
left the set, which you do.
Andrew left the set.
But
Joe
now
Wright.
that you mention it, now that
Right, Joe Wright.
Now that you mention
Joe Long.
Yeah.
It's all Joining us right now is NBC's Willie Geist, who's been all over Paris as eye-popping venues for these summer games and going from place to place and seeing some pretty cool stuff.
Good to see you guys.
Very nice to
We are
see
so
you.
glad to have you.
I'm
here,
so
Willie.
happy to be on the set with
We
the
are-
guys I only usually see on
See
TV
in the
because
box
we're on
across
the
the
TV
way.
at the same time. So
Here we are.
I'm not Larry David, but I figure you can talk to me. Did you guys see him?
Of course.
No, here?
He's like
No.
he's like a TV star now.
Oh.
Like, forgetting about the whole.
How good was he in terms of just being really natural? I just told you that.
You're very kind. That was
You're
fun.
almost-
Curb Your Enthusiasm. It was an out-of-body experience.
Stella Adler trained it.
So tell us about the out-of-body experience you had last night of fencing, because I saw you taking to the Instagram.
So, we've talked a lot about the venues at these Olympics, and on paper they were spectacular. I think in person they're even more spectacular. I'm not particularly a fencing guy.
Right.
But I went to the Grand Palais, just behind us at the bottom of the Champs-Élysées last night, because I'd heard such great things. This stunning structure with a glass roof. You've seen it in movies. One of the most famous buildings here in Paris. And it was electric. Now, there were two French women who were going at it for the gold medal on the women's side, but that is Nick Itkin. He's an American who won bronze last night from Los Angeles. But you wouldn't believe, I was walking past the stadium and I heard a roar that sounded like Madison Square Garden during a Knicks playoff game.
It was louder than that.
Yeah.
I walked by the other day too, and it wasn't even the finals, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, what's in there?
Exactly.
And we had to go find out.
And I thought for fencing, so I went inside and it was electric. It's like being at beach volleyball. The music is loud, the crowd is amped, just amazing energy at these venues. Another one, of course, is
and that's
beach
tonight.
volleyball.
There's more tonight. I want to go
More
see that
tonight.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to beach volleyball?
I've been down to beach
not.
volleyball, but I have not actually, just to see the guys training.
Okay, so this is the one that a lot of people were anticipating most. Literally in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower is beach volleyball. I was down there a couple of nights ago to watch the American women who are favored to win the gold medal in this competition. And again, you're standing there watching beach volleyball. It's 10 o'clock at night. There's a beach in front of you, a rocking crowd. And yes, behind it is the Eiffel Tower lit up in all its glory. So for me, the venues here have exceeded expectations and really delivered.
We got to talk about two other things, though.
Yeah.
Tennis yesterday, if we could.
Sure.
But the other thing I want to talk about is surfing, because there's this shot that I think may become the
I love it.
iconic
Yeah.
photograph.
So tennis, quickly, you had two of the all-time greats, right? You had Djokovic taking out Nadal, maybe their last ever meeting, among many others. But let's talk about this photograph going viral. That is not Photoshop. That is an actual photograph. His name is Gabriel Medina. He's from Brazil. Of course, the surfing competition taking place in Tahiti, some 10,000 miles from where we're sitting in French Polynesia. He scored 9.90. That's the highest score in the history of the surfing competition. Now, it just began in Tokyo 4 years ago, but the best ride ever in the Olympic history. And that is him flipping off his board, captured perfectly by a photographer for Getty Images and Agence France Presse. I mean,
this happened right at the
end.
end.
Floating. This is at the end. He's done his run.
Done it.
He's landed the 9.9. He's already made history. He's favored to win the gold, and that's just a stunning image.
Yeah.
The more you look at it, the more surreal it
Right. It's
becomes.
just. I remember looking at it and thinking, is he standing on plastic originally? What is going on here?
Exactly.
I think we got to give credit to the photographer as much as
capturing it,
Absolutely.
Okay. Can we just? By the way, what do you think it's like for those folks down in Tahiti to feel like they're part of the Olympics?
I'd like to find out.
I'd like to find out for that job.
Colin Jost is our surfing correspondent down there.
I know. How did that happen?
Nice job. Good job.
He is,
But
that's,
I'm happy to
Tough
be here.
assignment.
Yeah.
What an assignment, huh? French Polynesia
cushy.
for the holidays. Not bad.
You're a very kind soul to be here. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks.
You bet.
Up next on Squawk Pod, former Olympian and gold medalist, swimmer, Summer Sanders, how she's helping other athletes transition from competition to career.
This partnership between Guild and Team USA is really addressing a very important issue that every single athlete's going to face regardless of their fame, and that is what's next.
Plus the games she's watching this Olympics right after this. Welcome back to Squawk Pod from the Paris Olympics. Here's Joe Kernen.
Summer Sanders is one of the biggest names in Olympic swimming, winning 2 gold medals in 1992. Summer.
And now 32 years ago.
Oh my God, that's.
But just yesterday.
Yeah, it seems like but Summer Sanders, the name is still like for me. Anyway, it's still Summer Sanders. Amazing. She's now helping athletes transition to life after the games, working with Guild. Has a partnership with Team USA, education, skill training. She joins us now. Summer Sanders, amazing that it's been that long. It's just a commentary on time and everything else. But like so many athletes, there's a life after the games, and not everyone's Summer Sanders.
Yeah.
We need to do things to prepare for that, for people when they're no longer in the limelight.
The one thing that every athlete is going to do is going to retire from their sport. So this partnership between Guild and Team USA is really addressing a very important issue that every single athlete's going to face regardless of their fame, and that is what's next. So I think if I look at my own career, if I had online education to finish my degree when I wanted to finish it, it would have just sort of taken that weight off my shoulders and helped me focus on a direction. And when we talk about mental health, that's such an active way to address mental health, to give an athlete a purpose when, like 6 weeks after the flame goes out and they're back home with their families.
Did you think about that a lot when you were?
I did. I mean, I was at Stanford, and I left Stanford with 7 units left to complete my degree. And I was working in television, and my major was communication. But in 1992, there was no internet. I mean, we were talking about how long ago that was. So I had to wait for the internet to catch up. And that's really what Guild does. It's a flexibility. When you think about it, we're not just talking about Summer Olympians, but Winter Olympians. They don't have as many scholarships for college. And also their season is in the middle of winter, which is when everyone goes to school.
How much harder do you think it is for somebody who actually wins a medal?
Harder, right. It's a different kind of hard,
It's a different kind of hard. It's a great, successful thing to have, but then there's the other side of that.
Well, they'll forever, whenever they're in a competition, be introduced as the Olympic champion. So that sort of puts you at, you always need to be at your best. I think you need to come to terms with like what really grounds you, and I did this many times in my life. I still do it when I audition for shows and things like that. Who loves me? So that's what really matters, right? And why I do it and who I do it for. And all of those things are of value to an athlete, whether they win or they compete. But we have to remember that's the saying in the Olympic Games. It's not the winning, it's the taking part, right? Being a part of the Olympic rings, and that's why I love it so much.
So you've got, alliances with colleges, 250 programs. What about after you're all trained? Can you match up skills with employers?
I love that you're talking about this. So many things. One of the things you don't think about is if an athlete has been training for, let's say, 20 years of their life, and athletes are sticking around their sport for much longer, how do you translate that language of training into a resume? That's something that Guild will help you with. And yes, so 10 years after you retire, you can go online. This is all through Team USA and the USOPC. They just go online, they find their degree. So undergrad, we have, there's a loser, don't say loser, loser, who's getting his master's degree in business development, I think is what it is, but master's degree in business.
I mean, if you can hire an Olympic medal winner, I would want to hire, I think, maybe a swimmer or a rower. The rower, anybody who's on a team,
right?
Either in the relay or on a. If you're rowing, everybody's got to do it all together. That's a thing.
It reminds me of veterans. The discipline and the hard work and the teamwork that goes into.
Teach us how to be better. We're not afraid of failure. In fact, we appreciate failure. We want to learn from it. We want to get better. We're teachable. We're coachable. But sometimes athletes, even if they win or don't, they go into that next phase with a lack of confidence. And that's okay too. Like I want to say to my Olympians, it's okay not to be perfect. Come and be a part of this team. We want to support you, and that's what Guild does with Team USA.
Can I ask just a sponsorship question?
Yes.
how long is the window? I mean, I feel like a lot of folks who win a medal,
Yes.
they need to go try to get that sponsorship money as quickly as humanly possible because they're all worried that the window is getting shorter and shorter in this sort of social media age.
Right. Well, the window I think is getting bigger.
I think it's getting bigger. Okay.
If you have a brand that you've created on social media, so let's talk about Alona Mar, right? The rugby player. They're going to play for the gold medal later today. She's been amassing all these followers, 1.6 million followers on social media. She already has her brand. She's very grounded in her brand. So now she can go out and sell that herself, right? She's not just an Olympian. She's more.
What do the coaches think of
I think the
players online, tweeting out stuff, gramming stuff, TikToking? I mean, are they into that, or are they like, get off your phone, I need you to focus?
I think there's a healthy mix between the two. I think NIL has changed things completely. So NIL would be the top, and then there's this brand awareness, social media, and how that might be interacting or affecting a team environment. But I don't know if everybody knows how to handle it yet. I mean, we're in like murky waters. I don't know how to do it.
So to speak.
Yeah, back to swimming.
Gramming.
Yeah.
On the gram, on the Instagram. You're on the gram.
I got to get.
Here's another word.
I'm in
When something's
1992
cool,
still.
when something's cool, you got to say sick. I've been hanging out with my
Sick.
teachers. That's sick.
Yeah.
So
You
that's-
got to slay. If you could slay.
That's slaying. I've been
Yeah.
slaying some people. On
But
Twitter.
it's great news. You can get a lot more athletes who get money now because there are a lot of the sponsors have smaller pools of money, so that reaches out to many more of the sports than it used to.
Especially if you've created a brand that's
Yeah.
maybe slightly outside of your sport. Who are you as a person?
Yeah.
Which not many people want to do that. They don't want to be that vulnerable and put themselves out there, but some of them have, and I think that they'll reap the rewards.
So what are you looking forward to the most? What's coming up?
Well, I already said it, rugby, which is later today. My daughter played rugby, so I actually know the rules. I know what to look for, which is fun. We're going to go to beach volleyball. It's going to be a little bit of a scorcher. Of course, I love swimming and everything that we're seeing there. There was a woman named Summer McIntosh from Canada who won last night.
Named after you? Probably.
No, actually, I think her dad watched the OC, and so named her from that. But I'm gonna stay connected to any summer that I see.
Yeah.
And then of course, track and field. I love it. I love the intensity of an entire stadium being quiet for the start of 100 meters.
Yeah.
Right. If you've never felt that, that's like if you drop this pen, the racers would hear it. So it's intense.
Summer, thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Seeing you.
Appreciate it.
Cheese will be next.
And before we end this episode of Squawk Pod, we have one more Olympian interview. It's sprinter and gold medalist, legendary runner Michael Johnson. Now, he's retired from the track, but he's pushing the sport forward to catch up to other money-making pros.
Tennis, you got the 4 Grand Slams, you got the 4 golf majors every year. So what we're creating with Grand Slam Track is the 4 tentpole events, 3-day events throughout the year with the best of the best.
You're listening to Squawk Pod from CNBC with Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin.
Up and Andrew, Q.
Our next guest is a 4-time Olympic gold medalist and 8-time world champion sprinter. And I just told him, I remember all of this. It's kind of crazy that he's sitting next to us. Michael Johnson is here. This spring, he launched Grand Slam Track, a new global track league that aims to elevate the sport and will reward racers with prize money, trying to turn this into almost like a tennis kind of situation.
Yeah, we'll see all of these fantastic athletes here in Paris. Fans love it. Track is on center stage. And then after this, we'll have to wait another 4 years to see it. That's typically what happens. So, we want to fill that void. We will fill that void where, like you said, tennis, you got the 4 Grand Slams, you got the 4 golf majors every year. So what we're creating with Grand Slam Track is the 4 tentpole events, 3-day events, throughout the year with the best of the best athletes.
Where do you do them? How big is the purse? What kind of media do you get behind it?
So what's unique about our league is, the prize money is significant. $100,000 for first place, $10,000 for 8th place. But more importantly, we pay our athletes a base compensation. So based on their work, just like any other league.
They get paid a base compensation. Is that dependent on them showing up for events? What happens if they get injured or something along those lines?
So just like, injuries are obviously a part of the sport.
Yeah.
They won't get the prize money because they didn't compete, but they still get their base compensation. So for us, our athletes are guaranteed to be there at all 4 of the slams, all 4 of our Grand Slam events, as long as they're healthy and ready to run. But also we have content days where we have shoulder programming. You probably watched Sprint on Netflix.
Right.
Saw me.
Yep.
So we have that sort of programming as well, because the sport needs to be uplifted in between those events as well, and not just for the live programming.
What do you think it is about now that is going to make this possible? I mean, there have been efforts in the past to try to do not this, but similar kinds of things. There have been a lot of efforts actually around a lot of Olympic sports to sort of professionalize them in different ways, but it feels like there's something happening now, an inflection point.
Yeah, I think that, what you're seeing right now is there's a hunger by broadcasters for live sports. It's the one thing that's sort of cutting through with all of the differences that are happening with streaming and with cable. Sports is still, there's an insatiable appetite for it, and there's an appetite for challenger sports, growing brands that are growing. Grand Slam track is new, but it's a different take on the sport, and we've taken the playbooks from other professional sports. We're not the federation trying to come in and make a little tweak here or there. That doesn't work, and to your point of those things that have been tried before, those haven't worked because they're little tweaks. We're taking a completely new approach to this.
Right. What do you think of these Olympic Games? I was just looking down at your feet to see if you were wearing Nikes or whatnot, but I was going to say some of these athletes are wearing these new shoes. That I wonder if you had those shoes, what it would have been like.
Yeah, the shoes. Look, the thing is everybody has the same type of shoes, so nobody has an advantage over anyone else. If there's an advantage, it's the advantage over the previous generation, because these shoes, they are spectacular. They're called super shoes for a reason. It's one of the reasons why the athletes are running much faster times. But another reason is once someone runs faster, that becomes the target, and it's a great motivator for the other athletes to run faster.
You were telling me you're not running anymore. I thought maybe he'd go jogging or something, just like that would be like a thing in your life.
I didn't, I did that for a few years. As a sprinter, you never really go out and jog.
Right.
It's just not what you do. When I was a sprinter, I would see people out jogging, and I just wonder why anybody would want to do that. Right?
We feel your pain, we agree.
But after I retired, I started jogging a bit. But now I hike. I live in Malibu. I hike a couple of days a week, but I'm in the gym.
Let me ask you a different question, because we were talking to Summer Sanders before, just about the sort of the mental health issues that athletes deal with after the Olympics, especially when they reach the highs.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was like for you?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why, Grand Slam track is so important as well, because there is that high. You train for 4 years for the Olympic Games, and it comes, and even if you succeed and you come home with a medal or you come home with gold, now it's all over. Where do I go from here? And you don't have an opportunity to continue. You want more of that.
Right.
And that's why we want to fill that void, because a lot of the athletes are looking for that opportunity, and these athletes are the best in the world. Fans want to see them. Athletes want to compete, but that opportunity hasn't been there. And so we're really excited to launch next year and bring that opportunity for athletes when they do leave here to have that same opportunity again 4 times a year.
Well, Michael Johnson, you are one of the best in the world, and for a whole generation that looks at you, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing to have you sitting here. Just so you know, as a kid watching. Anyway, there it is. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Some of today's big Olympic events. Simone Biles and the U.S. women's gymnastics team going for the gold today. The U.S. women's rugby team will face New Zealand in the semifinals. And Regan Smith and Kayla McEwen are set for what is expected to be an epic 100-meter backstroke final. And tomorrow, everybody, en garde. We actually got to try our own hands at Olympic saber fencing, suiting up like athletes with the help of Team USA's Miles Chamley-Watson and Maya Chamberlain.
Like athletes.
Like athletes.
Not athletes.
Like pretending and trying our best. They showed us what to do, gave us a few tips, showed us how to go after each other, and we did.
Yeah. We knew a little bit how to do that other part, going after each other from before.
We're watching Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, the verbal fencing.
That's right.
The verbal fencing.
Verbal fencing.
We verbal fence all the time.
That's the podcast for today. On our rundown tomorrow, more Olympics.
It's going to be another big show tomorrow. Make sure you join us for that.
If you're like me watching the games from afar, tune into pretty much any NBC platform. Peacock, NBC.com, NBC Olympics, any of our apps, cable, every game, every medal will be streamed. And obviously, if you tune into Squawk Pod, you will hear all the highlights and so much more with our Squawk Box hosts Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin on CNBC. We'll meet you right back here tomorrow.
We are clear. Thanks, guys.